I don't know if he's a judge. He's a judge. He's an officer of the state.
So the orders that they put out, are they valid orders?
If it's signed by a judge, yeah.
Even if it's not under the seal of the court, it's signed by an actual judge.
You said Article 3. That's federal.
Yes or no? Is the order valid if it's not under the seal of the court and signed by?
I don't even know what the seal of the court means.
What's the word, man? It's 773 DBTV here for the hungry and the needy, but not the greedy. You know the vibes, man. Today I got a special one. Right now I got my boy Greg Doss in the building, man. What's up, Greg Doss?
Hey, what's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Hell yeah, man. You know, I've been following your content for some time, but I never really dug too deep into it until now. And I kind of want the people who aren't familiar with who you are to know your story. So can we get a little background check on you?
Well, I'm 57 years old. I was in the military. I worked in the school system for a little while. I was also a union steward with the Teamsters, so that's a little bit of my background. For anybody who actually watches any of my videos and wonders where my ability to deal with an adversarial relationship comes from. And then, like most people, I found myself involved with the criminal justice system and child support. And what happened was, not that I had to become incarcerated or what have you, but first it was child support, the standard stuff. I didn't know anything. So I, for the most part, was in the full compliance mode. And one day I got angry enough to say, you know what? F this. I'm going to figure this out. And I was being badgered by one of the child support workers or whatever they are inside the inside the courthouse, inside the administrative meeting rooms. And one day I said to the lady, you know, B, I'm finna figure this out. She asked me, who am I talking to? I'm talking to you. And so I just started on the path of doing this. And I'll be candid and say, I started with the child support and was working with it and doing my own thing. And I eventually got success because I ran into a guy at a poetry event. And for Black on Black Rhyme, shout out to Black on Black Rhyme Tampa at the time. And he made the statement, you don't have to pay taxes and I can show you. Well, when he said I can show you, the first thing I thought about is, well, I don't have tax issues, but I have another issue. And when he started talking about some of the language that I came to learn is not going to benefit me in court, it got me started on the path nonetheless. And from there, about 2 years after hearing him make that statement and me attacking the child support process from the legal aspect, meaning spending hours upon hours at the time in the law library before I got, you know, the sophisticated stuff that I have now. And from there, I started going into the courtrooms, into the courtroom and challenging the child support as it was. And as you know, and anybody who wants to see, if they get access to the Dropbox, you can see my dockets and everything that show how my cases were dismissed. And actually, because of my child support experience, when I was having issues with driving without license, and I have like 12 or 13, 14 of them, and I don't recommend anybody do that. But I have quite a few of those, and I end up winning those cases because I knew how to focus on what the actual issue was. And then unfortunately, I was charged with perjury in an official proceeding because I'd acquired over $1 million worth of properties through a HOA foreclosure sale. Somebody I know bought the properties through a HOA. He bid on the properties, paid the money, found out about what was going on. And what happened was he came to me one day and said, you know, Greg, I think I made a mistake. I said, what was the mistake? And he said, I bought these properties and now the banks want the properties and I don't know what to do. I'm just going to give the properties back to the bank. And when I was looking at them, I'm saying, you know, these are legitimate transactions. The clerk sold the property. You were the high bidder. You paid cash for the properties. It's a bona fide sale. And by this time I had a little bit more insight on the law. And he's like, well, Greg, I just can't do it. I'm just going to give the properties back. And I'm like, whoa, we're not doing that. I'll help you fight it. He didn't want to fight it. So he he essentially just sold me the properties through a quick claim deed. The clerk verified the sales, and then the properties became mine. I started to fight the situation inside the court, and next thing you know, I get charged with perjury in an official proceeding because one of the sitting judges called the mayor's bodyguard to have the mayor's bodyguard charge me, which is, we know that's a little bit strange.
Yeah, that sounds strange.
Yeah. But ultimately what happened was I fought the case self-represented and ended up disqualifying 4 judges. And eventually the Florida Supreme Court sent the judge in from the district outside of this district. And I ended up having that case dismissed in my favor. And I ended up suing for malicious prosecution and some other things. This middle district court here in Florida dismissed it. I've appealed it, and I'm actually actively involved in the appellate process of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta. So I'm actually one step below the United States Supreme Court, and I've done that self-represented as well.
Wow. Let's
do one thing too, real quick.
Go ahead.
I had to give my disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I do not have a license to practice law. I do not practice law. What I've done is study the law, and I share my experiences and tell people how I got the information. So I don't give information as advice to apply to your specific case, but it's general information regarding the law and lawful principles, which, by the way, belong to the people. So please use any information obtained from me for educational edification only. And the reason that I say that is because I want nothing that I say to be construed to be legal advice. If you feel you need legal advice, I would highly encourage you to hire a licensed and hopefully competent attorney, and not one of the many bar associated attorneys that get disbarred every year or have a complaint filed on them every month and then be legally advised. And I'll just say, with that being said, if you
but even though you say that though, bro, you can do this by yourself.
Oh, I've done it all. Yeah.
No, I mean, when I say you, I mean for the people, for the people watching,
Oh, yeah.
I want you to know that an attorney is only going to walk you through the process. They're not going to, you got to be a better client. And talking to Greg, I really learned a little bit about what it is to be a good client if you are going to have an attorney, because nobody's really going to know your case more than you. And when you guys go do your Googles on who Greg Doss is, you're gonna see, he's really he's not telling you the full truth. If he was, when you go watch him in court, he is a savage, bro. He is not for none of that shit. He will put you in your place. He's gonna hold you to what the law is, because a lot of these people in these positions, they don't deal with people like Greg on the day-to-day basis. And I really commend you for that, bro. Like, I really have not met somebody who fights in court the way you do. And you do it with no lawyer.
Well, I'll say this. I tell people to keep in mind that when you see my picture on like Facebook and you see that uniform, I had to tell my son that's not a Halloween costume. And you would think that if I was willing to fight and die for the country, I'm going to go and stand up for myself. Right. And I really wish more people were more knowledgeable, because the first thing that would happen is you would hope if more people held people in positions of authority accountable, they would operate more accordingly. I haven't created any new law or done anything. I just used the law that was on the books. And that's why you hear me say, if you watch any of if you become a member and watch our classes, I didn't change any law. And I don't want to take this and anybody take it the wrong way, like that other brother did when he said, I didn't come to destroy the law, I came to fulfill it. So when I show up in court, I'm just here to make you all hold them accountable to the law. And as you get more successful, the butterflies go away. And I've been in court over 200 times by myself. So
So I like that you said that though, bro. I like that you said you're basically using the rules of the rules and the regulations against them, kind of, essentially, right?
It's not against them. I use the rules to support my argument for why I'm entitled to relief. I talk about the Iraq issue. What's my legal issue? What rule governs that particular issue? How do I apply the rule to the issue to conclude that I'm entitled to the relief that I'm seeking? And there's nuance and all and other things that are involved. And I learned a lot of this, by the way, because I did work as a paralegal and a legal assistant. So, but I had my experience before I became a paralegal or legal assistant. And, I did legal research for them, and, I draft organically, which came from my academic background. So, and
But
now you use the courtroom.
the reason why I like that you're talking about the rules of the court is because I have somebody who I've worked with. His name is Child Support is Fraud, and Child Support is Fraud. One of the things he says is, I just use the same rules against them. The same. He's like the same stuff they filed against me. I turned around and I used it against them. Are you familiar with who Child Support is Fraud? Are you familiar with?
I've heard of him. I'm not familiar with whatever his process is, and I don't want to say this and sound too aloof, but I don't have to pay I don't have to pay attention to what somebody else does. I kind of do my own thing. I've
But
heard
you
about him.
should though, bro. You should know what's going on in the world right now. He's one of the top people bringing down the curtain on child support. So I feel like it goes hand in hand. I think and I kind of want to tell you a little bit about my story. I'm kind of at a standstill though because even though I see he is where he's at, me personally doing what he's telling me to do got me in some places. So I want to kind of tell you a little bit about my story and just tell you
Some places. Okay, hold on. Let me get my pen out.
some places.
That sounded almost vague, but we're gonna go with it.
We gonna keep it vague until I get to the meat and potatoes, man.
Okay, let's see what we got going on here.
So but while we talk about my story, I want to let you know that I did email you my files that I put in my case. I don't know if you have them, but as we talk about this, I just want you to see what I actually put in my case file. I sent it to you in the email.
Okay, great. GDNAPSC.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, you don't have to call me sir. I work for a living, but I get it. I appreciate it. Oh, military thing.
So a little bit about my story though.
Right.
Just like everybody else, you receive a piece of mail. Not from a judicial system, circuit court. You receive a piece of mail from I believe it's the Department of Revenue or Child Support. I don't know. I forgot exactly who sent the letter, letting you know that they are intending to come after you for child support. That's how it started.
Okay, so in your case, I'm trying to see where I'm looking at. I see, yeah, you sent me quite a bit. I see custody action.
Yeah, I filed probably over 100 pieces of papers, 100 different documents in my damn case file.
If you don't mind me asking, I'll try to, because I know we're public here.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the complaint for support. So I see,
Yeah,
I see it. Okay, I see the
but before we get there, let me tell you my story though, bro, and then we'll get into the
talk. I want to read it to catch up because otherwise I won't have some. It gives you context. Go ahead.
So I get the letter from child support, right? And instantly I was like, man, this is shady. I've always been a dope dad. I'm not gonna sit here and toot my own horn on how good of a father I am. That's not my place to say. I wait for my kids to grow up and say it. But I know that I strive to be a dad, right? And the thing is, one of the things that I just thought was so I just couldn't accept was I can't accept the fact that the state is coming after me for supporting a child that I've been supporting since day one. And I was kind of like my back against the wall. When you from the hood and growing up, we don't get taught these type of things. You know what I'm saying? We don't get taught how to conduct ourselves. When actually where we're from, we kind of grow up thinking that just child support is just a part of life, right? And so
child support or supporting your children.
they're two different things.
Right.
They're two different things. Supporting your child and child support. And I'm glad you said that. For the people watching, I do not condone people not supporting. But child support, we'll call it Title 4D, whatever you want to fucking call it. But but yeah, moving forward, I reach out to Child Support is Fraud, Lionell TJ. And when I reached out to him, he had a lot of notoriety in that industry, and he was just explaining how child support, their process is unconstitutional.
But wait a minute, hold on. I'm reading your complaint, but I'm multitasking. So let's roll back. You said originally that something about the complaint. I'm looking at it, and it came from the Circuit Court of, if you don't mind me saying, Cook County. So when you say it's not from a court, where it states at the very top, from the Circuit Court of Cook County, and I'm reading what you sent me. I see the case number. It says a complaint, which a complaint is an action, and it says comes now, and it tells you who brought the action, which is the Illinois Department of Health and Family Services, the state attorney's office, and pursuant to a specific rule and statute 305 ILCS. I'm guessing that's Illinois something IL, like it's Illinois child support. I don't know. I had to figure that part out, and it gives you the statute and code that they use to bring the action. It says I see it says okay, just basic. It's make statements. It says it make statements. Wherefore they're asking for a certain thing. It's only 2 pages. So hold on.
So look, we gonna get. Trust me. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna tell you the story. I'm gonna tell you where I ended up.
Let me do one more thing. Let me look at the summons.
My boy Greg, crazy man.
Well, no, this is actually what they sent you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, about that sir thing, but I appreciate it. It's the same thing. It says to respondent or counter respondent, meaning which would mean, oh yeah, it says right here, you're required to file an answer.
So hold on, I'm coming back to the complaint, but
did you answer this?
Not yet. I want you. I want to say the story.
It came out in 24.
I want to say the story, and then I want to see how it could have been handled differently. So we're gonna come back to the beginning. So,
well, was it handled at all?
Yeah. Well, listen to the story. You gotta listen to the story. So the story, it goes like this, bro. Lionel says, I hit him in the DM. He's like, I charge 500. I charge 500 for a consultation, 30 minutes. I think he gave me a deal. I can't be sure, but I know that his regular price was 500 for the 30-minute consultation. For the first 15 minutes, I'm explaining a little bit about my situation. I've been there. Woo. I only could say so much in 15 minutes. I mean, shit, how long have we been on this call right now? You know what I'm saying? So how much time we at?
I don't know, but we started at the top of the hour. We've been on here 16 minutes.
Right. So 15 minutes. That's all the time we was on right now is just the time I had to say my story. Then he comes on for 15 minutes and he tells me about his story. Right. And when he was telling me about his story, he was saying how he had a kid when he was still a kid. I don't even think he was of age yet. I think he was like 12 years old. They came after him. They found out the kid wasn't his, but he didn't get child support dismissed because the kid wasn't his. The way he markets it is he got it dismissed for extrinsic fraud. And that's like a key cornerstone in this entire thing, because he was coming at, he was using codes like, I think it's, don't quote me, but I think it's fucking 42 USC 1691 or some shit like that. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And it's basically like all writs need to be under the seal of the court and signed by an actual Article 3 judge.
But hold on. You mentioned a federal statute because you said Title 42 is a federal statute. Child support actions are brought in state court.
So,
So
but Howlett versus Rose says that all or states cannot create laws that go against or no, that's the supremacy clause that can't go against laws that are
that's
uh
article that's
they go
Article
against the
6.
state.
That's Article
I
6
mean
of
the
that's
you said
Article
what?
that's Article 6 of the United States Constitution. But that's the supremacy article. But the people might want to read the entire Constitution, because any rights not expressly delegated in the Constitution are reserved to the states. And so long as that particular issue doesn't conflict with something that the federal Constitution protects, because it doesn't give you any rights, it protects the rights, um, the states can do. And if there's a conflict between state law and federal law, or if he's saying there's something that the federal law is already in that area and the state came in there, that's called federalism, by the way. If the state, if the federal law, if there's a federal law already in place, but that's not going to be the issue. The action was brought in state court. So unless there's a challenge to the state action being unconstitutional, then you have to go through the necessary remedy stages. It's a state action. If the action is legitimate, they've served you. That's not unconstitutional.
So what do you okay, so for the people who are on fifth grade level, what does that mean?
It means you use. Well, I don't know why he brought up article. I mean, Title
So you're
42.
telling me that Howlett versus Rose Supreme Court case law is not applicable in Illinois? I'm asking.
It could be applicable in Illinois if the facts would lead to it being a federal issue, but your issue is not a federal issue. An issue is brought.
Is child support the federal government?
No, yours is from the Illinois Department of Health and Family Services as an ex relation to the. I'm not going to say the person's name. And they
Right.
brought the action against the state brought the action against you it appears on behalf of this young lady, and they had a state statute that allowed them to bring the action, and it also says here that you had a certain date to sign. I mean, to give a response. And what's interesting with this is I see the date it was filed. The date it was filed is not as important as the date you were served. Because you have, depending on what the Illinois law is, it's going to tell you have X number of days to respond to the once served to respond to it. Once they file it, they have X number of days to serve you with this document. And I don't see anywhere on this right here where I see the filing date. I don't see where there's a proof of service. I see.
There should be a proof of service on there. If I didn't send that to you, I'll go ahead and get you a copy of that.
So you're not arguing that you were actually given this. You were given this.
I plead the fifth. But let me tell you like this though, bro.
Well, did you ever show up at a proceeding for this?
No.
So you've never showed up at all for this case at all?
When I was served, yes. When I was served. But the first time when I got that shit in the mail, no. And then I defaulted. And then I got served.
How'd you default?
I don't fucking know. Shit. Let me just continue my story, bro. So I go and then I tell Lionel, he tells me don't file any motions. He's like, we don't file motions. We file writs and demands, right? So I was like, okay, mind you, he didn't really have a lot of time with me because he only had 15 minutes out of the 30 minutes that I had with him to explain the shit. So I'm like, fuck it. I grabbed the paperwork. I didn't even tell you. He actually just blessed me with some paperwork to study and to use what was on there to learn on how I could put it on my in my case and apply it to my case and submit the paperwork. When I had my first hearing, though, they was not hearing that shit. They was not hearing none of that. They didn't want to talk about it. They issued out a temporary order of support for $100 the first day, and they just fucking disregarded everything I had to say.
Is there any proof of service in default? Okay, wait a minute. Oh, there is an affidavit of service. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
No, you
reading.
good. You good. So my question was, before I keep going with the story, why didn't they address any of the filings, and why do they never address any of the filings when we try to defend ourselves and try to talk in court?
I I can't speak specifically to what your issue was without knowing all the facts. I hear your
Well,
story.
I told you that I asked Lionel, how should I file my
So
paperwork,
so you
and
responded to the
he
complaint?
said I never filed motions, I only filed writs and demands.
A writ for what? And a
I know,
demand for what?
a demand for dismissal.
So if you filed a demand, then that would probably waive some other defense if you weren't served within, I mean, by the rules, that could be improper service. And again, for those who don't know, I'll repeat, not for legal advice, but it's just a process. I see that there's like three questions here, or three statements. So you never responded. And this stuff that you sent me, did you respond with any of this stuff that I'm looking at?
Are you talking about what they filed against me?
Yeah, I see three. If
I
you
mean,
can,
I didn't respond directly to it, but I filed the demand for dismissal, why I thought it should be dismissed.
that is a
Uh,
response.
huh?
That is a response.
Right. So you got the demand for dismissal letter that I sent you? It's in my docket. I sent you one of the
I'm looking at it now.
as you look for it right now. I'll keep going. So
You filed all this stuff I'm looking at?
yeah, I mean yeah, that's
So
what I
there's
was.
no response, there's no
That's what I
respondent
was
or
told.
defendants, there's no defendant's answer to complaint.
Yeah.
You
So
filed, wait a
so
minute.
yeah.
Hold on, bro.
So no. So I called Child Support is Fraud the next day. And or after that hearing where they just completely disregarded everything I had to say. And he's like, no, that's usually what they do. You know,
All
they don't
16 of these things?
yes. They don't listen to what you're saying, you know, but that's the due process violations that they do.
Okay, so for clarity, since we're having a conversation and I don't know how much time we have, but when you say they violated due process, I would specifically, how did they violate your right to due process? They
Because
served you.
they're not allowing, they're not, first of all, due process violation because they're not allowing me to speak. They're disregarding what
Did
I
you
want to
show up?
say.
Did you
Huh?
show up? Did you respond to what brought you to court? Uh, is the complaint. Did you respond to the complaint
No,
specifically?
I wasn't told to respond to that at
I,
all.
I can't speak for what you weren't told. I asked you, did you respond?
I'm
Yeah.
telling you no.
Okay, so if you did not respond, then you waived a
No,
potentially.
so you're telling okay, but let's get right to the chase then. Are you telling me that this dude sent me off or what? Because I don't
I
understand
can't
what's
speak for what he did because I wasn't there, and it would be unfair for me to speak to what he did. I'm only going to go by what you're saying. And what I would do to answer the question for those watching is, you're not arguing that you weren't served. You said you were. You did not respond to the service. You, the time went by. The court gave you a court date. You showed up with no response, or you were probably defaulted because you didn't respond. And looking at some of the dates of these documents, why do you have federal case law on this stuff?
that's what I'm asking you, Greg.
Wait,
I'm
hold on one second.
asking,
Hold on. Don't you know
can I
that
use federal law in the
why
shit?
you also have an Ohio case in here?
I can't use Ohio case law.
If you're in Ohio, um,
No, bro. I thought Howlett versus Rose says that all state or Supreme Court case law could be applicable in all states.
but okay, but this case is out of Ohio, and this is not a federal case I'm looking at. Um, the other issue is I think you're conflating issues also. I mean, you're putting them together where they don't apply. Um, and I want to make sure that I'm the because I'm looking at the stuff that you filed, and I'm like, I don't see an answer at all. I see a legal
No,
demand for immediate.
you don't gotta look for it. I'll tell you. No, I did not respond to the complaint. I
But you
only
filed all this
responded.
stuff.
I only responded to the due process violations that they are creating by implementing this support.
Well, then
But let me tell you how it goes. So the story's not over yet, Greg. The story keeps
there's
going.
more of this.
There's more. There's more, bro. So then we'll fast forward. We're having hearings. They're basically asking for my financial information. The temporary order of support. It's adding up by every month, whatever. I'm not paying it. I was told not to pay it. It implies consent. They didn't want to imply consent. I wanted to talk
They
about.
said not. They said not to follow an order. Are you there?
Yeah, bro.
So
That's
wait.
what they said.
So you had
So
an order that you had an order. You knew there was an order, and you chose to not pay the order.
because I didn't want to imply consent and the so
Consent to what?
I mean you could go on his page. You after we're done with it, go do your Googles on who is child support is fraud. But what he did was he said that it's like these people are like a circus, like everybody's wearing costumes. He's like, that's not even a real judge. He's a judge magistrate. A magistrate or a fact finder. He's not really a Article 3 judge. So when
Wait,
he's
Article 3. You mean he's not a federal judge? No, he's a state judge, right?
no, I mean he's an independent contractor for child support.
I thought you said he's a judge. I
Is
think,
that the truth though? Is he an
well,
independent contractor for child support?